But for the Yankees, there's a leg with every big player getting traded, possibly to the Yankees. I've seen the amount of rumors I've seen about almost every player in baseball being moved to the Yankees is unsurmountable. It's insane how many rumors and takes that you see on other players. This one I think is real, and this one I think has actual legs.
You are Locked On Yankees, your daily New York Yankees podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Yankees, which is part of the Locked On Podcast Network, now the #1 sports podcast network. I'm Stacey Gotsulias. He's Brian McKeon, and we'd like to thank you for making Locked On Yankees your first listen every day. Brian, how are we doing today?
I'm feeling spicy. I have a take that I want to give that I think is a lot of Yankee Nation should jump on top of.
On today's show, we're going to check in with two Yankee prospects from Hudson Valley who played in the Arizona Fall Leagues. We'll tell you how they did. Sonny Gray goes to the Red Sox. Is this a good thing for the Yankees or a bad thing? But first, let's talk about what Brian's been dying to talk about for the last few days.
Whenever you bring up a big name player getting traded to your favorite team, for almost every other team in baseball, you can kind of discredit it almost immediately. But for the Yankees, there's a leg with every big player getting traded, possibly to the Yankees. I've seen the amount of rumors I've seen about almost every player in baseball being moved to the Yankees is unsurmountable. It's insane how many rumors and takes that you see on other players. This one I think is real, and this one I think has actual legs. I think the Yankees should pursue Fernando Tatis Jr. as hard as imaginably possible to be playing either shortstop or the outfield for the New York Yankees next year. Let's first put this into perspective, okay? Peter Seigler, the former passed on owner of the San Diego Padres, desperately wanted to win a world championship before passing away. He had battled cancer for years and years. He unfortunately lost his battle with the disease, but in the years prior to losing his battle, he spent a boatload of money. And I'm sure you all remember that. There were off seasons where the Padres were just handing out money every year. And people were kind of wondering, how are they doing this? Because they were never known as giant spenders. And all of a sudden they're handing out hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars of contracts. And Peter Seigler really wanted a title before he passed. And part of that was giving Fernando Tatis Jr. this long-term extension at a really young age. He gave him a 14-year contract, over $300 million, and wanted to lock Tatis up for a very long amount of time, bought out his arbitration years. And people kind of didn't know how they'd feel about this, right? Because Tatis winds up having the PED suspension, winds up getting hurt, but he is a budding superstar, right? And now you look at it a few years later. The Padres are now they're stuck with all these giant contracts, right? Machado and Bogarts and Darvish and all these big deals. And now current ownership is trying to sell the team. And it becomes a lot more difficult to sell a team when you're locked up with a lot of huge contracts, because it's not just the new ownership that's buying the franchise for whatever the Padres will sell for, close to $2 billion, I'm sure. It's not just that price they're paying. They're also assuming the entire salary of the team. So they don't want as many $300 million contracts on there as possible. It becomes more enticing to get more bidders in there when there's less deals attached to it. Tatis having a long-term deal makes him a prime candidate to be traded. Stacey, he's still in his 20s. He's still in his prime. And I know it sounds crazy that he signed until 2034. But that year, he'll only be 35 years old. That's only his age 35 season, which honestly is not that crazy to sign a guy until. Guys play past that all the time. The best part of this whole thing, though, Stacey, his luxury tax count, his AAV. That's the number we're going to use. If you look at Tatis's yearly salaries, they're way above this number. But his AAV, because the way they Padres did things, especially when they signed Machado and Bogarts and all these guys, they were offsetting what they paid guys per year. So Tatis at the start of the contract was making like $6 million per year. And now at the end of the deal, he's making like $38 million per year. Doesn't matter to anyone. Doesn't really only matters to Hal Steinbrenner. And trust me, even though he claims he's poor, he'll figure that salary stuff out. The AAV counting to luxury tax is $25 million, which, if you ask me, is a lot cheaper than the $32 million we reported on from Corey Seager yesterday, and a lot cheaper than any other player would sign for the numbers that he puts up at the plate, along with the fielding numbers that Tatis puts up and the platinum glove defense that he provides, not only in the outfield, but also at shortstop, the position that he came up playing. I think he could be a potential cover for Volpe if you needed to. I think if you want to send Volpe down for an extended period of time and have him kind of refigure things out both mentally and physically in the minor league level, you can do that because he's got plenty of options, obviously. But also, Tatis can play an elite shortstop. It allows you to have an elite player at shortstop while you're trying to win and kind of preserve the career of your first-round pick that you're still trying to make work. Then later on, you move Tatis back into the outfield. Or if you keep Volpe at short, Tatis could play left field because, again, he is an elite-level platinum glove defender. I think this is a no-brainer. I think this is a move that you go at hard. And again, the intrigue to Seager was the fact that you wouldn't have to give up much because the Rangers are trying to shed salary. So it's not going to cost a lot of prospects. It's not going to cost a big package. I saw someone, by the way, report a few days ago that what if you were willing to? What if you put this trade package together? Volpe, Austin Wells, and Greg, and not Greg Bird. Wow, I almost said Greg Bird right there. That would have been really bad. And Ben Rice. At one point, Greg Bird was a top tier trade package, and Ben Rice for Seager. And I was sitting there thinking that's too much for Seager.
Yeah,
because Seager got all this contract attached to him, and the Rangers have publicly admitted they want to shed salary. So why would you give up all that? They're taking the contract on. That's the big draw the Yankees can give you is we're eating all this money. I don't think Tatis would cost nearly as much either. You're eating the money off his contract. And got to be honest, $25 million, even a $300 million deal for the player Tatis has become, $300 million is a good deal for that kind of player. Just is with what guys are signing for now. So I don't know how you feel, but I wouldn't hate a Corey Seager move. This move to me is the one that you go after full force because he's worth it. He's a superstar. He's one of the best, more marketable players in the entire league. I think you have to do this.
That would be a really interesting move. And as you said, he's so much younger because he's not 35 until 2034. We're entering 2026. That's a lot of years of Fernando Tatis Jr.
Right through his prime, by the way.
Yeah.
You're going right through those 27 to 33 years where he's going to be at his peak as a player for $25 million a year, Stacey.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't beat that.
I say Tatis. I meant Tatis. I know how to say his name.
Same stuff, yeah.
I just want to correct myself. I don't know why I said it that way. But yeah, I saw someone on Blue Sky say, come on, Yankees, make my Thanksgiving and just announce the Fernando Tatis trade already.
The fight back I've heard from people that I've spoken to around the industry, whenever there's a big opinion that I have, I like to gauge how other people are going to feel about these kind of things. And the fight back that I got on it is Tatis has been known he's got a big personality, let's call it that.
Yeah.
And he likes to ruffle feathers and doesn't have a problem with things like that. And I think New York would be a huge change, obviously, from San Diego, where there's 3 people in front of your locker instead of 50. Yes. So I do get that. That's the benefit of having a captain like Aaron Judge.
I was just going to say, there are factors at play that would make it so he would know that he probably couldn't do that with the Yankees, whether it's Judge or Stanton being like,
yep.
We don't do that here.
He is a flair for the dramatic kind of player. He is a guy that likes the camera on him and likes the spotlight. And I don't know if he's getting that in San Diego. And by the way, San Diego's a really fun team, and they're a fun team to watch, and they've been great over the last few years. But I don't know if you necessarily get the coverage that you want playing there as you would another team. And I think a player like that would love to play for the New York Yankees. I don't think the no trade clause is a huge factor against Fernando Tatis joining the Yankees. I think from all accounts around the league, it's not just me saying that. From all accounts around the league, he'd lift it in a heartbite to go to certain teams.
Sure.
And I think having him with the ability to play shortstop, if the Volpe thing doesn't work out, you can also throw him in left field. He's been right field for the Padres the last couple of years. He'd seamlessly fit into left field without a problem. I have no doubt in that whatsoever. I just think this is a no-brainer. He steals bases. He hits home runs. He hits for average. He has a lot of RBIs attached to him. This is a no-brainer superstar player going right through his prime. You don't have an opportunity to acquire players like this very often. And the reason why they were able to get Juan Soto for, by the way, pretty cheap. And I know Michael King became a really good pitcher for the Padres, but from everything else they gave up, they didn't give up that much for Juan Soto. And I know you're thinking there's a lot of prospects attached. Juan Soto was an all-time great player. That's how good Juan Soto is. So from what they gave up, they really didn't give up that much market value-wise for what a Juan Soto trade should cost. You'll be able to do the same thing with Tatis, especially because you're eating all the money. Money was the factor in why they had to trade Soto. I think it would be the factor in why they have to trade Tatis. And again, no one's taking that Machado deal. No one is. Certainly no one's taking the Bogarts deal. So,
No.
and with Darvish hurt now, no one's taking that deal either. Tatis is the guy that can be got there. And, they're not trading him to the Dodgers because it's in division. So it's the one time the Dodgers kind of can't hurt you. And the Mets aren't after him because of Lindor. So there's really no other team with a big pocketbook that can afford to really go after him and make it work than the Yankees. They have a clear advantage here. They have a clear leg up here. I think it's a no-brainer, and I think it's a move you kind of have to do if you're the Yankees, if it's available.
Yeah. When did this start? Like, who was the first person to talk about this? Like, how did this come about? Do we know?
I got to be honest. Me and my friend, we've had him on a few times, Emmanuel, started chatting about it. And then me and JJ, my other friend who we've had on a few times, started chatting about it. And then in my own head, it started growing legs and developing its own thing for me. I'm not saying that I started the story. I don't think I did.
Because I know Kay talked about it, but I can't remember what his opinion was, if he thought it was crazy or not.
I haven't seen a lot of it out there. So I honestly can't tell you who it was that gave the opinion out there. But the more and more that because I've been curating ideas all offseason on who they should go after. And the more and more I've thought about it, the more and more. And I love the Seager thing. I love Corey Seager as a player. I love the dramatics that he's been attached to in his career. And I don't mind the salary because, again, if you get a championship out of it for Judge, who the heck cares? But this one this is acquiring a superstar in his prime. This to me makes the most sense for the salary you're paying him. I think it's a no-brainer. So to me, at least, I haven't seen a lot of national coverage on it. This to me has been a story that has grown and grown and grown over the last few days or weeks for me. That's why I needed to report on it. And we kind of teased on it last week. So this was important to me. So I'm glad I got it off my chest. Thank you.
Don't forget, subscribe to the channel, hit the like button on our videos, and hit the notification so you know when our videos go up. You can also listen to us on every podcasting platform available. And please follow us on Locked On Yankees on Instagram. It's easy to find us. Coming up, Sonny Gray goes to the Red Sox. We're going to tell you all about it next.
The NBA is back, and there's no better place to get in on the action than with FanDuel. It's the official sports betting partner of the NBA. And even if you missed the start of the game or you want to ride the hot hand, FanDuel has live bets on everything from who will score next to fourth quarter comebacks. It's all at the Turkey Day. All about it. And Thanksgiving is coming up quickly ahead of us. It's already tomorrow. And I got to be honest with you, in the early slate, I love the Detroit Lions, given the 3 points to the Green Bay Packers, who have not played well of late. Lions are getting healthier in their secondary. I think it stops Jordan Love, and I think the Lions are going to be able to get through with the power of Jahmyr Gibbs of late. You can even combine your live bets into same-game parlays for a shot at bigger payouts. Honestly, it keeps every game exciting, especially when your team is able to make that late-game push. Now, right now, FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. So head over to FanDuel.com right now to sign up and play your game with FanDuel. It's an official sports betting partner of the NBA. Thank you guys for making Locked On Yankees your first listen of the day, and thank you for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. Every Friday we answer your questions, and now we're opening it up for comments as well. If you're not a part of the Locked On Yankees Insiders Club, this is what you have to do. You go over to Locked On Yankees YouTube channel right there. You click on the post tab right there, and you'll see the latest post telling you where you can leave your questions and comments for us. Ask us about the Yankees, ask us about baseball, ask us relationship advice. If you're having trouble with your kids, I mean, me and Stacey don't have kids, but we'll give you the best advice we possibly could. That episode, the deadline for giving up your questions is going to be 8 p.m. Thanksgiving night. So as you're falling asleep from your pie and your turkey and all that melanin they're getting in, you can be able to get your questions in before 8 p.m. We'll try our best to get them in for Fan Mail Friday, which will be a live stream on Friday night. We're thinking 6, 7 p.m., somewhere around there. So stay tuned for that. You'll see it updated on the Locked On Yankees YouTube channel. Stacey, I want to bring this up real quick too. Speaking of the Locked On Yankees YouTube channel, I want to ask you a question and see if you know the answer to it. Now, I think you do, but I want to see if you do. How much money does it cost to subscribe to the Locked On Yankees YouTube channel?
0.
It's free. So if you're not subscribed, go to your YouTube. It's very easy to have a YouTube account. Most people do. And hit the subscribe button. We're trying to get to certain milestones that really only we care about. But it makes us look good if we get to those milestones. So please, please, please subscribe. We appreciate every bit of it. Now, another thing. Do you know who one of my favorite players of all time in Major League Baseball is? It's a very weird answer. If you don't know it, that's fine, but you'll probably be able to get it because you know where I'm going here.
Sonny Gray.
Sonny Gray, Mr. Pickles. His former nickname in Oakland, they called him Pickles when he was there because they always wore the pickle green jerseys when he pitched. I love Sonny Gray. I've loved him so much since that postseason when he outdueled Justin Verlander in the ALDS going up for the A's. That's how long I've loved Sonny Gray. And then when they traded for him to the Yankees, I thought it was an amazing trade. And to my credit, in 2017, Sonny Gray was awesome for the Yankees. And I know many people forget that very easily. Sonny Gray was awesome down the stretch and into the postseason, pitching that big comeback game they had too. So I've loved Sonny Gray. The 2018 season really hurt me in the heart. I actually thought he wasn't that bad in that season as people made it out to be, especially with the pitchers that we've seen since go through the Yankee system. But I digress. Pitched amazing for the Cincinnati Reds after that. Really, every stop he's been great. And now there's a new stop. Tell us about it.
Yeah, so the Yankees. Really? Let's try that again. So the Red Sox and Cardinals pulled off a trade. Sonny Gray goes to Boston for former Yankees prospect Richard Fitz, who was part of the Alex Verdugo trade, and left-hander Brandon Clark. So that's an interesting twist. Fitz is a right-hander, Clark is a left-hander.
Yeah, I think it was what the Cardinals were looking for. I am shocked that a team that perennially pretty much wins all the time is kind of taking a back seat, trading away their best pitcher. But hey, that's the move they decided to make, right? Sonny Gray is still a really solid pitcher in this league, though.
Yeah, let's go through these numbers because he was 14-8 with a 4.28 ERA in 2025. But don't let the 4.28 ERA fool you, because if you look at his FIP, which is the fielding independent pitching, which has nothing to do with it's a different stat, and it was lower than the ERA, which gives you a truer picture as to how he pitched in 2025. So don't let that 4.28 ERA fool you. He was actually better than that.
Yeah, and a tremendous control that he's had. The only pitchers with 400 plus strikeouts and fewer than 80 walks over the last two seasons are Tarek Skubal, Garrett Crochet, and Sonny Gray.
Yeah,
that's a pretty good number two to add to your pitching staff if you were the Boston Red Sox. The weird thought that I saw in this is actually the amount of money the Red Sox are paying. They're eating a lot of money here to be able to get Sonny Gray. I know the Cardinals are giving back a portion of it, but the amount of money that it's counting towards their cap is quite aggressive. And this is coming from a big Sonny Gray supporter. I have 2 Sonny Gray jerseys hanging up in my closet. So that's how much I love Sonny Gray. The Cardinals, this is per Jeff Passan. The Cardinals are sending the Red Sox $20 million to cover Sonny Gray's salary. Gray's contract will pay him $35 million this year, which is a high amount for Sonny Gray. Yeah. There is a $30 million mutual option, not a club option. So Sonny Gray can just accept this deal, which he probably will. There's a $5 million buyout. So if Gray wants to accept the $30 million, which he obviously will, the Red Sox will have to pay him $5 million to have the opt-out not go into effect for 2027. They will likely do that because they don't want to pay him $30 million, no matter how good he is. They're not going to want to pay him $30 million when there's a lockout impending. That makes no sense at all. So they're going to pay him the $5 million. That's pretty much a guarantee no matter how good he is for the Red Sox. Meaning, Stacey, the Red Sox are going to be paying him about $40 million next season. That's a crazy amount of money for Sonny Gray. And I think Sonny Gray is an awesome player. That's a lot of money to be giving Sonny Gray. But hey, that's a really good. Is he your number 2 above Bayo? I guess so, right?
Possibly.
Yeah, but it's a fight between 2 or 3. Still a pretty good 2-3 right there behind Crochet.
Well, where was Giolito in the rotation? Because he's essentially replacing Lucas Giolito, right?
Yeah, and they had him lower. And he was certainly lower on the totem pole when it came to the postseason. I would say Sonny Gray's a better pitcher than Giolito at this point in their careers.
Yeah. By the way, the FIP was 3.39. That's nearly a run lower than the ERA. So look at that number instead. We should have people look at those numbers instead anyway. Let's talk about FIP more on the show. Yeah. That'll be our New Year's resolution.
He actually did waive the no trade clause to go to the Boston Red Sox, which I do find interesting. People made this point a lot that he couldn't handle New York and it was too much. And I don't believe that at all. And we've had a Sonny Gray. I don't know when it was. I would love to tell you guys to go back and look at it. we did put together, I believe, last offseason, a Sonny Gray masterclass defending his time with the Yankees. I don't remember when that episode was, so I don't quote me, but we do have it.
Well,
it is somewhere up there.
If you're on YouTube and put in Locked On Yankees Sonny Gray, it'll probably find it.
Because we did like a masterclass on defending his Yankee tenure and really what they did to kind of screw him up. Because when he went back to the old pitcher that he was and the style that he pitched after they traded him to Cincinnati, he became a completely different pitcher again. And remember that Cincinnati year, he almost won the Cy Young. He was that good.
He was fine with the Reds. He was fine with the Twins. He was fine with the Cardinals. And people are going to keep saying, oh, well, it was the Yankees. No, it wasn't because it was with the Yankees. It was because of what the Yankees tried to do to this kid when he came over.
He pitched really well in St. Louis, which I know is not a major market per se when it comes to the Yankees or the Red Sox and stuff, but it is a major baseball market.
Sure.
St. Louis is a very big covered team and has a very massive and passionate fan base. So that is like playing in a big market. And he pitched absolutely fine and did not succumb to the pressure. And again, he had to lift the no trade clause to go to Boston. So if he was afraid of the Yankees and he was afraid of the big city and he was afraid of the Northeast and he was afraid of all these things that people kind of reported, why would you go to the Boston Red Sox? Which, by the way, Boston, what would you consider it? It's a top 5 sports town in America, right? Why would he go there if he was really afraid of the pressure? I don't think he is, and I think he's going to be really solid for the Red Sox, to be honest.
Yeah, so what does this move mean for the Yankees? Let's look at some numbers in 2025 for Sonny Gray. He gave up 15 home runs to right-handed batters, and they had a 282 batting average against him. So a lot of people are salivating, thinking about Aaron Judge launching bombs off of him in Fenway Park because he actually was only slightly better. Oh, no, he was better on the road than he was in St. Louis. But home is different in Fenway Park when you're facing right-handed batters, especially people like Aaron Judge and Giancarlo Stanton, who can launch balls 400 to 500 feet.
And I'd say that's the benefit the Yankees have, is having those two sluggers that are able to launch the ball. Plus, Sonny Gray, it can be quite difficult at times to go the other way on him because he doesn't pitch with a lot of velocity. So it's kind of hard to poke the ball the other way 300 feet or 350 feet plus when he's not throwing with a lot of velocity. His velocity is not helping you out, really. It's a lot of movement with him. It's a lot of curveballs, a lot of things going in different directions than it's supposed to, all that kind of stuff. So I think when you have guys with a lot of power, like Giancarlo, like Aaron Judge, who can kind of hit the ball to all fields no matter what the velocity is, they don't need the pitcher's assistance to get the ball out of the ballpark.
Right.
Kind of is their benefit. But we'll see. I know that you know that he's gonna have some good starts against the Yankees. Yankees tend to let this happen against guys that used to be on their team. So Nathan Eovaldi, to name a few.
Yeah.
So I do think the deception that he pitches with probably doesn't lend a hand to the Yankees that tend to strike out a lot.
Right. Like and it'll probably be like his first start back in Yankee Stadium. And, it'll probably line up where it's a Sunday night ESPN game and he's going to shut them down for like 6 innings and everyone's going to be really
it'll bug
annoyed.
me because the Bronx faithful will boo endlessly Sonny Gray as if he was here pitching to a 9 ERA.
Right. But yeah, interesting move for the Red Sox. Like I said, Richard Fitz and Brandon Clark. Richard Fitz was one of our first guests on this show.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Good kid from Alabama. And former co-host Steve Granado, who works with the Springfield Cardinals, joked that he was hoping that they could get some, minor league hitters from the Red Sox, but it didn't work out that way in this trade. So, yeah, we'll see what happens. Do you think this will be the only big news of this week? Because I'm assuming yes, because I don't think I could see anything happening
of this week. Yeah, this feels like it's not really a news dump. I'm glad that we got news this week. To be honest with you, I didn't think we get anything. Yeah. But this feels like a low point in the baseball offseason. It should heat up around mid to late December, I would think.
Yeah, I would think so too. Speaking of that, before we go to the next segment, we are 5 days a week. The last week that we're 5 days a week is the week of December 8th. Starting December 15th, we dropped down to 3 days a week and we are officially in our off season. So I wanted to give you guys a heads up. And as we get closer to those dates, we'll let you know how the schedule is going. But yeah, we're almost there. We're almost in the winter months.
And we will. The plan is to be consistent. We will do one show for you guys, kind of with the two of us just recapping stuff and everything going on with the Yankees and stuff, and another show with the guest like we've been having in the offseason. We like getting different perspectives from different people around the industry and stuff. And then we will do, as always, Fan Mail Friday.
Yep.
To close out the week. So you guys can still stay involved with the show, and we do appreciate your involvement throughout the offseason. There still is plenty to talk about, never really short of news in Yankee Nation, that's for sure.
Yep. All right, coming up, we're going to tell you how two prospects did in the Arizona Fall League next. So, Arizona Fall League update. I'm only updating you on two guys. There were a few guys that were there playing, but these were the two biggest names. So Cade Smith, not to be confused with the one on the Guardians, but the Yankees prospect who plays for Hudson Valley. The Arizona Fall League is known as a launching pad. So the fact that Cade Smith pitched as well as he did, it's a small sample size, but the fact that he pitched as well as he did in the Arizona Fall League is a good sign for him. It took 21 batters before he even allowed his first hit in the Arizona Fall League. And the rest of the guys that he pitched with on Mesa combined for a 6.98 ERA. And Smith had a 2.13 across.
It's beyond impressive.
Across 12 and 2/3 innings. Again, it's not a big sample size, but he was showing some stuff off. He also had a 14-2 strikeout to walk ratio, which again, it's a hitter's paradise out in Arizona. So for him to do that in that short amount of time was pretty good.
Yeah, and again, these are things that when we talk about the offseason and trade moves that can possibly be made, a lot of teams are going to want kind of lower end prospects that not are high ranked necessarily in team systems, but have a huge amount of upside. I think that's where you find Cade Smith right now. It's not a top 100 ranked guy. He's not a guy that's, named in the top prospects. He's not one of the Lombard juniors that you talk about. He's kind of in that middling range where he's starting to put up these really impressive numbers, and teams are starting to notice. That could be a guy that, you want to go out there and make moves. He's a guy that you got to kind of make available. And, again, teams that are not in their best era right now, but are looking to kind of acquire talent, that's the kind of guy they're going to be looking at.
Yes. And of note, he is not going to be in danger of being lost in the Rule 5 draft. Yes. So just so you guys know. The next one, Bryce Cunningham, also representing Hudson Valley out in Arizona. There was a different story for Bryce Cunningham in the Arizona Fall League. The 2024 second rounder had a 10.38 ERA across his first two starts in the Arizona Fall League, but he finished up strong in his final start through 4 scoreless innings. So that's good for him. At least he rebounded and was able to pick those numbers up, because when you see your teammates, they both play for Hudson Valley. When you see your teammate pitching to a 2.13 and you're throwing up a 10.38, it's got to not feel good. So
yeah, and there's got to be a competitive nature to it as well, where you try to kind of not one up your guy, but try to give the best fight that you possibly can. You're competing out there, yeah. So not exactly the Arizona Fall League representation that Bryce Cunningham wanted to give, but hey, it's not the biggest deal in the world. Yankees still have a lot of promise for him, so we'll keep monitoring these things throughout the offseason because it is very interesting stuff.
Yeah. Now, I was looking for information about Jason Dominguez, and in my quick Google search, couldn't really find any updates about how he was doing. So I'm going to do more of a search, because I got to remember the way I got to the Dominican League stats page, and I'll look things up and see how he's doing so everyone knows. Because when you Google him, it's all stuff about him being in the Dominican League, the Winter League, but not that anything's happening. So
not exactly a ton of coverage for that league.
Right. No.
So it's difficult to get your news when out of there.
Yeah. And I will look at different sites who cover the prospects a little more and cover leagues like that more to see if I can find more information. But I wanted to give you guys a heads up about that, because I was trying to find information about Jason Dominguez and I hit a brick wall. And that happens sometimes when you're,
especially with that Dominican League. It's tough to get news out of there, unfortunately. More often than not, you kind of get the synopsis of what the guy did after the Fall League ends.
Right.
Yeah. Right. Oh, here's his total cumulative numbers. We're not sure how totally accurate they are, because the official scorer down there is also does something else in the stadium. So
Yeah.
You kind of get. I think the Yankees have guys down there that are monitoring it and how he's playing and stuff like that. So
yeah,
that's what's most important.
I would assume so, because before he went down, they were talking about what they wanted him to do, and as we said, playing left field, batting from both sides. He was going to work on his right-handed batting,
which we kind of disagreed with, by the way.
Right, we disagreed with that. I think he should just stick with the left-handed batting because he's so much better at it, and you know, I think that if he gets better at the left-handed batting, then there will be times where, if depending on how things work out and he's still with the Yankees and still like maybe playing left field, they won't take him out as much. You know what I mean? Because like they were thinking to themselves, oh, well, we could, he's not that strong. We could take him out. It's fine if he's out of the lineup. I want Jason Dominguez to make it so they have no choice but to put him in the lineup because he's become so good at hitting.
That's the best way to keep yourself available and in the lineup, is give the team no option.
Yeah.
And it's going to be tough. They're out there looking for people. So they're actively looking for people to replace him. So they got to figure something out here.
Yep.
Chris McMonagle, the former producer, longtime producer of Mike Francesa and current WFAN overnight host, will be with us tomorrow. Huge Yankees fan. So it'll be fun to get his take. We'll get some old Mike Francesa stories out of it too, I'm sure. But will be really cool to get some takes on him defending Hal, him defending Aaron Boone. I'm sure we'll have a battle with him on that. So really looking forward to getting his takes. Also, are you a Beatles fan?
Yeah, I like the Beatles.
Massive Paul McCartney fan. I don't think I've ever met anyone who has more information on the Beatles than Chris McMonagle. So that should be fun too.
That will be fun. All right, well, thank you guys for making Locked On Yankees your first listen. For your second listen, find Locked On MLB. Baseball guru Sully brings you a daily blend of humor and baseball, and he keeps you updated on every rumor and story throughout the offseason. You can find Locked On MLB on YouTube or wherever you listen to your podcasts. So that'll do it for this edition of Locked On Yankees. I'm Stacey Gotsulias.
And I'm Brian McKeon. We'll catch you guys tomorrow.